Greetings everyone. Today we'll talk about fertilization, and that will be the end of the chapter. The process fertilization means the fusion of the nuclei present within the male and female gametes. Now in case of plants, the pollen grains are the male gametes and the ovule present inside the ovary is the female gamete. So when the nucleus present inside the male gamete fuses, or nucleus present inside pollen grain fuses with the nucleus present inside the ovule, that process is known as fertilization. Let us quickly know about pollen grain. A pollen grain that is mature consists of a double wall. Now, the outer wall is known as the exine and the inner wall is known as the intine. Now, when pollination takes place, at that time pollen grain is already mature. So, at that stage, the nucleus inside the pollen grain has already divided into two more nuclei. One known as tube nucleus, another known as generative nucleus. It is at this stage that the pollen is transferred to the stigma. Now, further changes take place in a pollen grain only if it has fallen on the stigma of the same species. Otherwise, the next stage of the pollen grain is not achieved. Okay, so now let us come to ovule. Ovule is the inner part of the ovary. So what happens here is, it is after fertilization it becomes the seed and ovary becomes the fruit. So there may be a single ovule produced inside the ovary, or there may be many ovules. When there is a single ovule, the fruit after fertilization contains only a single seed like a mango, and when there are many ovules, then the fruit contains several seeds, for example papaya or an apple. Now each ovule has one or two protective coverings. These are known as the integuments. Okay, the protective coverings of the ovules are known as integuments. These integuments, they leave a small opening at one end. That small opening allows the pollen tube to enter, and the end or the opening is known as micropyle. Now, enclosed by the integuments is the nucellus, which can also be called as cells carrying food for the ovule. And further inside the nucellus grows the embryo. So let us look at it in the figure, it will be clearer to us. Let us look at this structure. Okay, so these are the this is the pollen grain that we were talking about. This is the exine and this is the intine. Here, this is the stage at which the pollination takes place. You can see that the nucleus has already divided into a tube nucleus and a generative nucleus. Now, they grow into this. That is, the pollen tube enlarges, and inside that you can see the tube nucleus and the generative nucleus. Okay, so let us look at the figure, or let us look at this ovary. Here are the integuments that we were talking about. This structure is the integument, and this opening is known as the micropyle. Okay, and inside this entire egg-shaped structure, this is the nucellus. This carries the food for the growing embryo. Okay, and this inner circle, that is the embryo. Okay, so this is the way the pollen grains grow, and this is an ovule showing the embryo sac. Okay, now this embryo sac, they contain 7 cells. Towards the micropyle, there is 1 egg cell and 2 synergids. See, the dotted line represents 2 synergids, and the cell that is prominent, that is the egg cell. There are 3 cells present on the opposite side as well. These cells are known as antipodal cells. Okay, and there is 1 large cell at the center called the central cell. Now the central cell contains 2 nuclei. These nuclei are called polar nuclei. Let me repeat this one more time. This opening is known as micropyle. These are the coverings that protect the underlying tissue. These coverings are known as integuments. Now, this is the nucellus. This yellow broad structure is known as the nucellus. It provides food for the growing embryo. The inner circle represents the embryo sac, that is, it contains the embryo. It will contain the embryo. Inside the embryo sac, there are always 7 cells. We call it 3 plus 3 plus 1 arrangement. 3 cells are present at the micropylar end. At the micropylar end, there is 1 egg cell and 2 synergids. At the antipodal end, or the opposite end, there are 3 cells which are known as antipodal cells. And in the middle, there is 1 central cell which contains 2 nuclei. The central cell is called central cell, and the 2 nuclei are known as polar nuclei. Now, let us see what happens. While germination of pollen grain, I already told you that this germination takes place only if the pollen grain falls on the stigma of the same plant species, otherwise it disintegrates. When the pollen grain falls on the stigma of the same species, the stigma, the chemicals present in the stigma stimulates the pollen grain to germinate. There are some sugar solution present, some chemicals present, which stimulate the pollen grain to germinate. Through a point in the exine known as the germ pore, the pollen tube grows out of the pollen grain. It carries the tube nucleus as well as the generative nucleus. Now the tube nucleus, the generative nucleus rather, divides into 2 nuclei. These 2 nuclei are known as the sperm nuclei or the male gamete nuclei. Thus, at this point, there are 3 nuclei present in the pollen tube. Now, let's see where this growth takes place. This is a very common structure. This is the ovary, this is the style, this is the stigma. So see what happens here. This represents this. So what happens here? This is the micropylar end, this is the antipodal cells. So the pollen grain grows from here. This is the tube, pollen tube. See, there are 1, 2 and 3 nuclei. These three, or rather these three, have been generated from the tube nucleus and the generative nucleus. Now the pollen tube grows through the stigma and proceeds through the style. While it grows, it dissolves the tissue with the help of the enzymes that are present in it, and it reaches the ovary. In here, it pushes through the micropyle end and reaches the embryo sac. What happens now? That the tube nucleus, which had directed the growth of pollen tube all the way, at this point is useless, so it disintegrates. Now the pollen tube enters one of the synergids and releases its 2 sperm nuclei. Now one of these sperm nuclei will fuse with the egg cell. Okay, one of this sperm nucleus will fuse with the egg cell to form the zygote, while the other sperm nucleus, it will move towards the polar nuclei. There are 2 polar nuclei. It will move toward the polar nuclei and fuse with it. The 3 nuclei will fuse together. This fusion, also known as a triple fusion, they will form the endosperm. Okay, so this part, upon fused with one of the sperm nuclei, forms endosperm, and the egg nuclei and the nucleus of the egg cell, upon fusing with another sperm nuclei, forms the zygote. As there has been 2 fusions or 2 fertilizations that has taken place, that's why this process of fertilization is known as double fertilization. You will encounter this question a lot, that why does the fertilization in angiosperm known as double fertilization? So because you can say that because one sperm nucleus fuses with the egg cell nucleus and another one fuses with 2 polar nuclei, and as the fusion takes place twice or the fertilization takes place twice, it is known as double fertilization. Okay, so once the fertilization takes place, what happens? The ovary, that becomes the fruit. The wall of the ovary, the wall of this ovary, this becomes the pericarp. The seed, we derive the seed from the ovule. This ovule, that becomes the seed. Placenta becomes the stalk of the seed. The outer integument, here you can see that the outer integument forms the testa, the inner integument from the tegmen. What is testa and tegmen? They are the outer and the inner part of the seed coat. The secondary nucleus forms the endosperm, as has been told earlier as well. The egg cell and the synergids, they form the embryo, and the antipodal cells, they are disorganized. The petals, the style, the stigma, they all wither and fall off. The calyx, sometimes it falls off, but sometimes you will find it attached with the fruit in a dried and shriveled form. You can see it in apple, guava. The dried sepals can be seen quite clearly. In brinjal also you can see that. The ovary, as I told you, becomes the fruit. The ovarian wall becomes the fruit wall. Now the ovary wall may either from a dry and hard fruit wall or a fleshy fruit wall. Now the fruit can contain one or more seeds. Now that happens only if there are one or more ovules attached to the ovary. Here there has been only one ovule shown, but if there are more ovules attached to the ovary, that gives rise to a fruit with more than one seed. So when the fruit is ripe, the seeds contained inside are released by one or the other method, and there are many methods to that, and they grow into new plants when they get the suitable condition. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the chapter. Go through the chapter. I'll send you the question answers shortly, and then we'll move to the next chapter, which will tell us what happens with the seeds. That's it for today. Thank you.